and hell's coming with me, you hear?
It was Walt Disney himself who stepped in to bring him into the movies, and from there, Kurt Russell became the cinematic archetype of the 1980s, a chiseled face, a defiant gaze, and a presence that was unmistakably his own. But then, at the peak of his career, Kurt Russell made a shocking move. He walked away from acting to chase a career in baseball. The media went wild. Some said he was just following a dream. Others whispered he saw no future in Hollywood. Was it really that simple? Or was there something deeper behind that choice? What puzzled people even more was how he managed to return to acting, build a fortune of $100 million, and live happily in a $1 million Malibu mansion with Goldie Hawn for over 4 decades. So, what really happened after those dazzling Disney days, and why does Hollywood, despite never crowning him a legend, always hold a unique respect for him? Let's dive into the quiet yet powerful life of the man named Kurt Russell. Nobody thought that paperboy would ever set foot in Hollywood, but it was those tough circumstances that pushed Kurt Russell toward a dream he never dared to speak aloud. Kurt Vogel Russell was born on March 17, 1951, in Springfield, Massachusetts. His father, Bing Russell, was a character actor who played cowboys in TV shows, while his mother, Louise Julia, was a dancer. The family didn't have much money, but they always raised their kids with love and a belief in brighter days. From a young age, Kurt showed independence and grit. At just 10 years old, he was out selling newspapers on the chilly streets of Springfield, hands smudged with ink, bundled in an old, heavy coat, but with eyes that sparkled with dreams far beyond his small town. In those lean years, 2 passions took root: baseball and acting. When the family moved to Thousand Oaks, California, Kurt balanced school with playing second base for local baseball teams. At the same time, he started auditioning for children's TV shows, landing small roles thanks to his bright looks and natural ease in front of the camera. The turning point came in 1966 when Walt Disney noticed Kurt in a minor TV role. Before his death, Disney reportedly scribbled 2 final words on his desk: Kurt Russell. A year later, at 15 years old, Kurt signed a 10-year contract with Disney, launching his official journey into Hollywood. From a paperboy in Massachusetts to a young actor handpicked by Walt Disney himself, it sounds like a fairy tale. But after that first taste of stardom, could Kurt Russell keep his fire burning? From a child star handpicked by Walt Disney to a ball player dreaming of the big leagues, Kurt Russell's journey began like a fairy tale. But right at the peak of hope, everything started to wobble. As the Disney films wound down, Kurt made a bold choice. He walked away from the soundstage, traded scripts for a uniform, and chased his childhood passion for baseball, a dream that burned in him even before the spotlight found him. From 1971 to 1973, he played for semi-pro teams like the Bend Rainbows and El Paso Sun Kings. No scripts, no audiences, just the field, sweat, and the crack of a bat against a ball in the blazing summer sun. Does a young heart sometimes just trust the place where it beats the loudest? Then, in 1973, during a routine slide, he tore his rotator cuff, a career-ending injury. His baseball dream was snuffed out, leaving a void bigger than anyone could have imagined. He didn't complain, but for someone who'd bet everything on one dream, that loss wasn't just a stumble, it was like having his roots ripped out. When the one thing you believe in most vanishes, what's left to hold on to? Hollywood was still there, but it wasn't waiting for him. Kurt returned to the screen with small, forgettable roles in films few remember. At times, he was just a shadow behind flashy posters, a face that once shone now faded into the background. What does a comeback mean when the world stopped calling your name? Then, in 1979, everything shifted. Playing Elvis Presley in a TV movie directed by John Carpenter opened a new door. His powerful performance earned him an Emmy nomination and marked a quiet but steady rebirth. Soon after, Kurt stepped into new territory. Escape from New York in 1981, with his role as Snake Plissken, shattered every preconception about him. He was a gritty, conflicted anti-hero, far from the clean-cut Disney kid of yesteryear. Then came The Thing in 1982, a haunting sci-fi masterpiece, and Big Trouble in Little China in 1986, where he blended action with a playful nod to the very roles he'd been boxed into. From one breakdown to another breakthrough, how many fresh starts does it take to truly become yourself? Kurt Russell didn't choose the easy path, but in the toughest moments, an identity took shape: strong, original, and unwavering. From a boy selling newspapers in the bitter winter cold, Kurt Russell now commands a fortune worth hundreds of millions of dollars, but his journey wasn't paved with red carpets. It was built on relentless grit. Kurt's acting career took off after his collaborations with John Carpenter. Never boxed into just action roles, he kept reinventing himself, from the fierce cowboy in Tombstone in 1993 to the tough coach in Miracle in 2004, then the quiet father in The Hateful Eight and an alien dad in Guardians of the Galaxy Vol. 2. Kurt showed rare staying power. In 2017, alongside his lifelong partner Goldie Hawn, he was honored with a star on the Hollywood Walk of Fame, not just a nod to his career, but a testament to a relationship that's lasted over 4 decades. Not everyone can keep their light shining that long in an industry that's always changing. Kurt's wealth, estimated at $100 million, shows in the homes he's chosen. In Pacific Palisades, he and Goldie own a mansion worth $10,400,000, sprawling over 6,000 square feet. The master bedroom feels like a private spa, with a white stone fireplace, an olive tree-lined pool, and a tranquil garden where you hear only the wind and trickling water. The house glows with elegant white and beige tones, every window opening to natural light. The master suite boasts an Italian marble stand-up tub, an oak-lined dressing room, and a large glass door to a patio overlooking a custom Japanese garden. Art is sparse but intentional. Goldie handpicks each piece. Mostly still lifes and pastoral landscapes, easy on the eyes. The kitchen, where Goldie often cooks with their grandkids, features a vintage Le Cornu oven, a copper sink, and a long Carrara marble island. It's where the family gathers for holidays. No grand parties, just candlelight, fresh bread, and everyday stories. Some homes aren't built to impress, they're built to hold on to the simple things that outlast fame. But the real gem is their beachfront home in Malibu, bought over 15 years ago and now valued at about $14,750,000. This 3-story house sits steps from the ocean, with an open design where the living room flows right onto a wooden deck. Waves crashing against stone walls each morning. The master bedroom upstairs has a private balcony where Kurt reads history books or jots down movie ideas. Below, there's a wine cellar for Goji, the wine brand he founded, storing Pinot Noir and Chardonnay from Santa Ynez. In an interview, Kurt once said, "This isn't a vacation house, it's where I sit and see clearly where I am in life." Notably, both homes are designed without need for bodyguards or big gates, just trees and enough space from the outside world. For Kurt, that's not just architecture, it's a statement about how he lives. After over 60 years in the business, what he values most isn't the stage, it's the place where he can be quiet and real, no roles required. Don't expect flashy sports cars or futuristic tech in Kurt's garage. His car collection reflects who he is, rugged, classic, and not chasing glamour. His longest companion is a 1966 Ford Mustang Fastback, painted silver gray, worth about $60,000 to $75,000 today. It's not the priciest car he owns, but it's the most priceless for its memories. Kurt once shared that as a teenager in Thousand Oaks. He'd stand outside a dealership, staring at this Mustang like it was from another world. When he finally bought it, he kept it original, no engine mods, no touchscreens. Sometimes, a car doesn't need to be modern, it just needs to carry a young man's dreams. In the early 1990s, with his career at its peak, Kurt added a 1970 Dodge Charger RT, now valued between $95,000 and $120,000, depending on the model, glossy black with a roaring V8 Hemi engine and minimalist leather interior. It's the car he drives when he wants to stay low-key but still feel power and control. From Malibu to film sets or a sunset cruise along the Pacific Coast Highway. It's a quiet part of his routine. It's not the fastest, but it feels the freest. In recent years, now in his 70s, Kurt drives a 2025 Mercedes-Benz S-Class in deep gray, a luxury sedan worth about $115,000, with ash gray leather and an active suspension for a near-silent ride. It's what he uses for events, interviews, or picking up close friends. Polished, discreet, no showboating. If there's a car that embodies calm at the top, this is it. Beyond cars, few know Kurt is a licensed pilot. He once owned a Cessna T-210, a light aircraft worth about $400,000. perfect for private flights between Malibu and Santa Ynez. On weekends, he'd fly with Goldie to Northern California's farmlands far from red carpets, just afternoons with a glass of wine and open skies. For Kurt Russell, every vehicle is more than transportation. It's a piece of his life's choices, simple, authentic, and true to himself. At 73, Kurt doesn't live like a star clinging to the spotlight. He's lived enough roles, flown enough skies, heard enough applause, and now he chooses only what lets him breathe easy. With a $100 million fortune, Kurt doesn't chase luxury watches or dazzling fashion events. Instead, he savors early mornings hand-brewing coffee, reading history on his oceanfront balcony, and tending lavender bushes in the backyard with Goldie. His style is understated denim shirts, worn leather jackets, low-heeled cowboy boots, pieces he's worn since his early career. On the street, you might mistake Kurt Russell for a retired carpenter rather than an action star who once ruled the box office. Maybe that's what keeps his charm so effortless. Food. He loves classic American fare barbecue sandwiches, spice-rubbed grilled chicken, mashed potatoes, and especially Goldie's peach cobbler at Thanksgiving, a dish he always takes a second helping of, despite promising to go easy. When he's not filming, Kurt pours himself into Gogi Wines, a brand named after his son Wyatt's nickname. He's not a CEO type, he's hands-on, checking grape batches, tasting oak barrels, and joining local farmers at Santa Ynez tastings. For him, winemaking isn't business, it's a way to slow down, touch the earth, and create something that doesn't need a billboard. Kurt's ideal day has no red carpets. It's driving his Mustang to the vineyard, sitting among endless rows of grapes, opening a bottle of perfectly aged Pinot Noir, and listening to the wind rustle the leaves. No lines, no roles, just a man, a moment, and a life well lived. In a Hollywood used to divorces and fleeting romances, Kurt Russell and Goldie Hawn's relationship is something almost like a fairy tale. They first met when Kurt was 16, but their bond truly began after co-starring in Swing Shift in 1983. Since then, over 40 years, no wedding, no marriage contract, but never a moment apart. They live together, raise kids together, and embrace each other's children. Kurt adopted Goldie's 2 kids with actor Bill Hudson Kate and Oliver as his own, building a blended family where every child feels they belong. With their son Wyatt Russell, Kurt is both father and friend, as Wyatt carved his own path in acting, starring in series like The Falcon and The Winter Soldier. Kurt never pushed or set expectations. He steps back, watches, and offers advice when asked like a quiet director, always present behind the scenes. Family, for Kurt, isn't for magazine spreads. He rarely appears publicly with everyone, dodging the perfect family image, but in their homes, in shared photos, in yearly Colorado retreats or fireside dinners in Malibu, you feel a calm, unspoken bond. In a rare interview about not marrying, Kurt simply said, "We don't need a wedding day to prove what we've built over 40 years. He's played cowboys, criminals, heroes, and tough dads, but his most authentic role is the man who keeps a home together without needing to show it off to the world." Even as one of Hollywood's most respected leading men, Kurt Russell's journey hasn't been a smooth ride. Behind the spotlight and applause, there were stormy years he quietly weathered. In 1973, a shoulder injury ended the baseball career Kurt had poured his heart into. For most, it might have been just a career setback, but for a young man who'd staked everything on the field over the screen, it was a blow to both body and spirit. For a while, he was lost, caught between being a former child star and an adult without a clear path. Kurt had to learn how to stand tall again one more time. His first marriage to actress Susan Hubley, the mother of his eldest son, Boston, ended quietly after 4 years. In the years that followed, Kurt navigated single fatherhood while trying to revive a fading career. Not everyone can start over, and even fewer can do it while holding a child in their arms. After finding a peaceful haven with Goldie Hawn, Kurt thought his unsteady days were behind him. But as half of one of Hollywood's most famous couples, he's never been free from the media's glare. Rumors of breakups swirled in 1999, 2004, and as recently as 2020, all because they never married or flaunted their love on social media. In 2024, their Los Angeles mansion was broken into twice in a row. Tabloids speculated it was a publicity stunt, especially as Kurt and Goldie were making a return to the screen. They stayed silent, didn't argue, didn't make a fuss, just as they've lived for over 4 decades. No need to prove anything, just keep moving forward. Even Kurt's choice to live privately, steer clear of politics, and skip high-profile fundraisers has drawn criticism as cold or indifferent. But for him, belief isn't about words, it's about quiet, daily actions. In a world where everything is scrutinized, staying silent can be the greatest challenge of all. Kurt Russell doesn't fight the press or respond to rumors. He lets time do the talking. He lets his love speak for what others question, and he answers with the steady resilience of each day lived. Kurt Russell has never won an Oscar. No golden statue or viral acceptance speech on the big stage, but after more than 6 decades in the business, he has something not everyone keeps: the respect of his peers, the love of his audience, and a life without regrets. He doesn't live like an icon, he became one naturally, from Snake Plissken to Wyatt Earp, from stern fathers to wandering souls. Kurt has never played the same role twice, nor has he let fame define him. His influence isn't measured in box office numbers. It's in how he's shown the next generation that success has no mold. You can be a child actor, a failed athlete, and still rise to stardom if you hold on to your grit and don't chase the crowd. He hasn't written a memoir, gone on speaking tours, or crafted a professional inspirer image, but every time his son Wyatt mentions him in the press, one word comes up: freedom. That might just be Kurt Russell's greatest legacy, living unbound by fame, prejudice, or expectations. Beyond the screen, he supports community causes. Kurt backs Wings of Hope, a humanitarian aviation group delivering medical supplies to remote areas. Through his Gogi Wines brand, he also helps fund the Santa Ynez community and its grape growers. No fanfare, no campaigns, just quiet contributions. And then, in 2025, when he and Goldie Hawn walked hand in hand at the 97th Oscars, radiant, unscripted, not trying to look young, people suddenly realized this love has lasted nearly half a century. No wedding, no contract, just a steady journey together. That's the kind of legacy that doesn't need recognition. It naturally etches itself into others' memories. From a paperboy in Springfield to an icon thriving in Hollywood's turbulence, Kurt Russell doesn't leave behind flashy quotes. He leaves a quiet, powerful message: you can walk your own path as long as you never forget who you are. And who knows, maybe in a life full of roles, the one that matters most is living true, without needing anyone's applause.